Thanks, Ben, and thanks to all of you guys for joining in. I can personally tell you it feels great to be back in a normal routine, out of the house, back here in our normal confines. Uh, as a guy that's a creature of habit, happy to be back in a normal routine, a weekly routine, and it's good to get out of the house. But just a little bit about the Indiana game. Obviously, haven't put that game to bed yesterday. Meeting with our players, and it's kind of like I said on Saturday. I felt two of the three phases played well enough for us to win the game. In the third phase, offensively, we didn't generate enough big plays, and then obviously had way too many self-inflicted wounds with the turnovers and the penalties and the drops and all those things that we talk about, controlling the controllables. And give credit to Indiana. They're a good football team, well coached. They fought. Our prayers are with Michael Penix as we heard the news of him possibly being out. Moving forward to Michigan, obviously we've shifted all of our energy and effort into a great opportunity against a traditional program in Michigan that has had great success as an organization. I know Coach Harbaugh announced yesterday that they paused their activities and went virtual yesterday and do the COVID testing. And, I know from us, our prayers and thoughts are with them that all of their players and staff are well, having gone through it. And we hope that obviously they're doing well. Saturday is another great opportunity for our team. As I've said before, being in the growth phase, every opportunity we get to compete, to go out and play is a step in the right direction for our program. And with the type of young players that we've played with, these opportunities, having missed two of them, we don't take it lightly. And I know our players are excited, as yesterday's energy at practice was good. And obviously today, Tuesday and Wednesdays are our big work days for us. And we're all excited about preparing and getting ready to go to Ann Arbor and have an opportunity to compete against a really good Michigan football team. We did a great job, I thought, as a program after adversity in the Northwestern game and adjusting and doing the little things to make corrections to get us back on the right side of the ledger, per se. The one thing that I say is that success leaves clues and footprints. We can play better. We can play sharper. We can play with more consistency. And that's what we're striving to do as a program. And I feel really confident that we will. And that, this weekend opportunity against a good Michigan program is just what we need in an effort to continue to move forward as a program. Before I take questions, our game captains for this week are Dante Demas, Cherokee Glasgow, and Antoine Richardson will serve as our game captains for the Michigan game. So with that, I guess I will open it up.
Thanks, Coach. We'll start with Dave Ginsburg.
Hi, Lox. You talked at the outset about being back to normal, but could anything have prepared you for the strangeness of this season with cancellations? Now Michigan's got the COVID thing. And speaking of Michigan, them and Penn State really at the bottom rung, and you've got Ohio State needing to play all its games to just get in to the championship. Were you at all, how surprised are you, if at all, at how strange this season has been?
Not surprised at all, Dave. As we all know, change is the one thing that is inevitable in 2020. And as our program has continued to operate under the guise of whatever rules are in place for us today, that's how we will operate. It's the only way you can live right now, and that's what we've chosen to do because of change and because of how fluid everything has been with 2020 this season. And we've embraced that. That's just part of what it is, what it is about. This season is all about, is being able to adjust and make changes and adjust on the fly. And our team has done a really good job of it for the most part.
We'll go to Emily.
Hey, Mike. Good to see you looking healthy. I was just curious, you have lots of new faces starting and being key contributors this year, but particularly the JUCO guys. Does anything about that skill set and just having so much game experience and maybe adaptability, has that helped them particularly this year with kind of the craziness and the stops and starts and just everything it's brought?
No, one of the things in our philosophy when we recruit junior college players is that we're bringing in a junior college guy to fill an immediate void in our program. We're not one of those programs that year in and year out are going to sign 25 JUCO players. And we want to build our program through the high school recruit. Obviously, we use the junior college ranks in an effort to fill voids and gaps in your program, and then as well as the transfer portal now has become another avenue for organizing your roster as such. And, the junior college players that we've signed that have all come in and have had the immediate impact that we expect when you sign a junior college player. And I've been really pleased with, guys like Mo Kite and Ami Finau and Jacorian Bennett, Jahari Branch. All these guys were guys that we targeted because of some serious needs and voids in our, whether it's scholarship numbers by position, and they all have come in with the right kind of mindset and assimilating into our program, to buying into the principles and values of our program. And, we feel really good that we hit on just about each of the junior college players we brought in and what they've been able to bring to our team.
We'll go to Scott Abraham next.
Hey, Locks, always good to see you. After the game, judging by your comments, I was wondering if you and Talia were on the same page. You said you had to figure out what is going on with your quarterback. I guess, did you figure out what was going on and kind of how do you proceed going forward?
Well, Talia and I are usually always on the same page. Obviously, last week was a different week, Scott, in that I was not around the football building. Talia and I have a routine that has worked pretty well for us the last 3 weeks. Obviously, last week with my being out with COVID and not being around the building kind of disrupted our ability to keep a normal routine. As I said, I'm a creature of habit, and I think our quarterback is the same. Obviously, was not happy with his production and the turnovers, and having watched the film, there's some things from a coaching standpoint that we could have done better to help our quarterback. To throw 3 interceptions in a game is not acceptable at any point. But I also feel like there were some things that we could have done better as a coaching staff in an effort to make sure that our quarterback always has a place to go with the football if, in fact, his primary reads aren't there. And these are things we've addressed. These are things that we've kind of gotten cleaned up after reviewing the Indiana game. And hopefully we'll always, moving forward, have the ability to make sure our quarterback has a place to go with the football. Can't hear you, Scott.
Sorry that. Thank you. And playing a traditional Big Ten power like Michigan, traveling to the big house, does that give the players extra juice, playing in that type of environment, that type of atmosphere?
Obviously these environments that these storied programs that we get to face and being a member of the Big Ten in 2020 are a little different than what they normally are. But we do have great respect for the tradition and history of what Michigan's all about and the big house. And but for us, those are external things that we always talk about. Really, we don't concern ourselves with. Once we make the decision of who we play, everything is more about Maryland than it is our opponent, and it's about our mindset. It's about our preparation. It's about our execution. And so, Michigan, like I said earlier, a traditional story program that has had great success. It's one of those blue blood programs that year in and year out, well respected, well coached. Coach Harbaugh and all the other great coaches that have come through that program. And I've had a chance to compete against them since 2005, and just have so much respect for their tradition and what they stand for.
Thanks, Lux.
Yep.
We'll go to Alex Dacey next.
Hey, Coach. Glad to see you're doing better and back at the facility. I know you touched on this a couple weeks ago, but just wanted to sort of get some expanded thoughts about the importance of starting strong on your first drive, because obviously this past week was the first time you guys had, whiffed all season on scoring on that first drive. So kind of what's the importance do you see from starting out strong like that?
Well, I mean, I think, again, the game of football and what we found in 2020 is momentum is a really important part of the game. And anytime you have an opportunity to go down in your opening drive and execute your stuff, whether it's on offense or defense, we've on offense for the most part, like you said, have had great success on the opening drive. And, this week we missed the opportunity by missing a field goal there to put points on in 4 consecutive games. I just think it gives your team confidence. It helps with momentum. It helps a young team that typically plays kind of to the ups and downs of the game, the ebb and flow, which we, again, always want to guard against. And so anything we can do to generate momentum helps our team. And I think starting off fast, whether it be on offense or defense, getting a 3 and out, sometimes helps with that energy level when you get into a game.
We'll go to Lila.
Hey, Lox, how are you?
Hey, Lila.
I know that it hasn't really, it's early in the week and things like that, but is there any sort of contingency plan in place if Michigan can't play? Because I know some other teams have cancellations as well.
Those things are above the pay grade of the head coach of Maryland. Today I woke up, Michigan is on our schedule today. We have a Tuesday practice, which is our normal down and distance, short yardage goal line. Everything we're doing today is all about Michigan. That's what our attention is. And until we hear anything differently, we're not even going there. I mean, again, our thoughts and prayers are with Michigan. Haven't gone through what they may be going through, which I'm not privy to that information other than what you hear. I just hope that the health and safety of their players and staff are on the forefront of our thought process, that they're all fine. And if we get the opportunity to compete against them this weekend, we're excited about that opportunity.
And just a quick one, is there any update on Shaq Smith?
Yeah, right now Shaq Smith is still a scratch for us.
Thank you.
Yep.
We'll go to Alif Kareem next.
Hey, Coach, good to see you again.
Good to see you, Alif.
Thank you. You mentioned that your team and sort of your focus with the team is building on proper habits. And obviously, since you guys were paused for a little bit, I'm curious, from your perspective, have you seen the team almost take that more seriously in terms of focusing on making sure their habits are right so there are no COVID outbreaks again?
Again, I've been really comfortable with the behavior modification our players have displayed in managing COVID. Like I said, Dr. Rook spoke on this a couple weeks back that, we were able to, contact trace it back and know that, it didn't stem from, risky behavior by our team. Obviously, our goal is to continue to mitigate COVID as best we possibly can through education of our players, the wearing of masks, washing our hands, social distancing, being smart, staying out of big groups, all those things. And, as I said, our players have just made some tremendous sacrifices as 18 to 22-year-old young men that are off in college, which typically, there's 3 areas you want to grow. You want to grow as a student, you want to grow as a football player, you want to grow as a person. And part of growing as a person is the social aspect of what college affords you. And our kids haven't been able to be social. And, I feel for these guys because of these sacrifices that they have to make. But we all knew what we signed up for, that if we wanted to play this season, there were going to be some tremendous sacrifices necessary. And, our guys continue to push through, and I'm proud of that piece.
Go to Jacob Steinberg.
Hey, Coach, glad to see you're back at the facility and doing well. So you talked to us earlier in the season after the Northwestern loss, how Talia is a really smart player, and once he makes a mistake, he learns from it. So I'm curious, in your individual meetings that you've had with him after games, have you noticed an evolution in his growth and maturity level and recognizing defenses and not replicating some of those mistakes that he had earlier on in the season?
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt that every week, this is his fourth game as a starter in college, that with every one of these opportunities, like all the young, inexperienced players in our program, every time he gets to play, it's an opportunity to grow and learn. And that's why missing two opportunities for a young quarterback is not ideal. And like I said, we could have done a better job as a staff on offense of making sure that we gave him a little better opportunity with some of the things we put out there from a game plan standpoint. But I see each and every one of our players, and not just our quarterbacks, gain valuable experience and knowledge through playing the game. I mean, that's the only way you really get better. And that's why for us, having these opportunities to play are paramount for the growth of our program. And, we want to continue to have this opportunity. Our players and the staff will continue to make sacrifices to ensure that the safety, health, and welfare of these guys moving forward allow us to go play the game. And that's what all of our attentions have been put on or put to.
And just building on that, a quick follow-up, if I may, have you changed your approach from week to week in those meetings with Talia, or is it depending on the results of the game, or is it pretty much a standard script of how those meetings go from week to week?
No, I mean, we're consistent with how we prepare. As I said, I'm a creature of habit. Obviously, these meetings entail making corrections or emphasizing something that he's done well or can do well. And, they're typical meetings that you would have with players that you are developing them on and off the field via watching practice together, making suggestions based on when we implement the game plan. Kind of, as I said, I'm kind of the cheat code for him. Obviously, Scotty coaches the quarterbacks and does a great job of organizing our offense. But because of the system, is a system that I've run and been doing for a long, long time, I can afford a little different perspective on things that help maybe make it a little clearer for Leah. And it's worked well for both of us. Gives me the opportunity to continue to stay involved in coaching, which I love to do. And that's the one piece as the head coach on a daily basis, to not have a position group. Kind of, you feel like you're on an island by yourself. And this gives me the opportunity to continue to coach and be a part of developing players.
Thank you, Coach.
Yep.
We'll go to Ed Lee.
Mike, Dante Demas Jr. leads the team in receptions, receiving yards, touchdown catches. Is this what you anticipated from him in 2020, or has he surprised you in any way?
No, I mean, he was one of those guys when we arrived last year that really jumped out to me as a young receiver that had tremendous skill. I think he's right on track with what my expectations are, because I've always felt since the day I've gotten here on campus that he was one of the receivers in our program, if not in this league. And, you're starting to see his consistency show up. The thing I've been really proud about Dante, it has been his development as a leader in a really young receiver room. And, at a young age, being thrown into a leadership role, I think he's embraced it. His practice habits have continued to improve with every year that we've been here, and how he approaches the game. I think his mental approach of wanting to be a great receiver and studying, the art of being a great receiver, I see that development out of him. And so just really pleased with the track that he's on, and I still think the best is still ahead for him as a player.
On Saturday, you referenced the secondary's ability to play man-to-man coverage. Is that a nod to the talent you think you have there in the secondary, or is it also influenced by the fact that you need those guys to play man-to-man so that you can generate a pass rush with the other front seven?
Well, there's a lot of ways to generate pass rushes, whether you add players to the mix with numbers or you develop a guy and create one-on-ones for guys. I just think our ability to play man coverage is a direct reflection of our coaching staff and our players. Number one, our coaching staff putting our players in the best possible position to do what they do best. And if you look at the corners that we've recruited in the secondary, the safeties we play and their ability to play close to the line of scrimmage and play the deep middle third of the field, we're just doing what our player skill set allows. And, we still mix in zone. Obviously, it stands out that we've made a lot of plays on the ball, and we've been really aggressive with our ability to play some man coverage, especially against some of the elite receivers in this league. But I think it goes back to the evaluation process and recruiting, that we've recruited to how we want to play defense around here at Maryland. John Hoke and his defensive staff have done a great job of making sure that we do things on defense that fit what our players can execute. And you've seen an uptick in production by our players based on those decisions we've made.
Thank you, Mike.
Yep.
For our final one, we'll go to Andy Koska.
Hey, Coach. Thanks for your time. This might be a grade again, but I just was wondering with that 21-day period, I mean, do you expect some of the players who did test positive to return for Saturday?
Yeah, we always have those expectations. We have a COVID list, obviously, that we operate off of. And when medical people tell me these guys are available, we implement them back into our preparation. We obviously, because of HIPAA laws and rules, I'm not getting into who's in and who's out. We'll play with the guys that are deemed medically able to play, and we've made adjustments with how we practice and how we prepare. And we've got a next man up mentality that, we don't make excuses about, why we have success or don't have success based off of injuries, because that's going to be a part of 2020. And our players know that, our staff knows that, and we don't make a big deal about it.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you very much.